Now, a former oil minister of Nigeria, Dezani Allison-Madueke, has been charged with bribery offences by British police on Tuesday. The UK police claim they have reason to believe she had done so in order to get lucrative oil and gas contracts worth millions of pounds. British police say she is currently living in St. John's Wood, an upmarket area of West London, and would appear at Westminster Magistrates Court on October 2nd. Head of the National Crime Agency's International Corruption Unit, Andy Kelly, says the suspect abused her power in Nigeria and accepted financial rewards for awarding multi-million-pound contracts. Allison-Madueke was a key figure in the administration of former President Goodluck Jonathan, serving as Petroleum Minister from 2010 to 2015. She also acted as president of the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC. Tolulope Aderemi, his partner Petstone, and Grace LP. She's joining me from London to unpack this latest development. Tolulope, good evening to you. Now, the British police said on Tuesday they had charged former Minister of Petroleum Resources Dezani Allison-Madueke with alleged bribery offences. What else are we learning from this development?
Thank you very much for having me. A very good evening to you, Nigerians. Well, I think it's important that we sync this with the new leadership of the Federal Ministry of Justice in Nigeria. What this means is that this is an investigation that is almost about 8 years. It is going to be 8 years on the 3rd of October of this year, because the former minister was granted bail from the Magistrate Court in London on the 3rd of October 2015. And so you can tell how many years it has taken. And like you rightly said in your introduction, Andy Kelly said the charges are a milestone in what has been a thorough and complex international investigation. And so this is for us, and for me personally, there's a lot to be learned from these. The current Attorney General of the Federation in Nigeria, during his screening at the National Assembly, opined that for cases of this nature, or indeed any case at all that relates to anti-graft, the investigation must be thorough and must be well done. And I think so the era of having to first invite, demonize, or name and shame a potential criminal,
Right,
or a suspect, which is what we refer to in law, is gone. This is what is called proper investigation. It has taken 8 years. And when you look at what happens even in the US, so when you follow the story, you can tell that even this National Crimes Agency gave evidence or gave some information to the US Intelligence Agency,
indeed.
where about $53 million or thereabout, was also confiscated.
So,
This is how investigation is done.
Tolulope,
And there's a lot that we must learn.
Tolulope, I think it's instructive that you brought, Nigeria's Justice Ministry into the fray, because then there's also been a lot of questions raised about jurisdiction on this matter. How does the NCA play in all of this? Essentially, how do British authorities play in all of this as far as jurisprudence and jurisdiction is concerned?
Yeah, because the UK jurisdiction is a jurisdiction that's where housed some of the proceeds of crime. And that's the reason why that action, or that criminal investigation, is able to take place here. Don't forget that there are concurrent investigations that are going on currently in Nigeria. I think as recently as a few years, months ago, about 2 properties of the former minister was confiscated, by a federal high court in, I think, in Abuja or thereabouts. So, but what you must know, what Nigerians must know, is that the jurisdiction where these proceeds of crime, where they are domiciled, will sit over, those sort of cases and adjudicate over them. Now, whatever the outcome is might likely be two. One will be where the person is found to have been guilty of contravening the laws of the particular land, in this case, English laws, because the jurisdiction where the proceeds of crime has been domiciled is here. Then she has to, bear the consequences, the legal consequences of having to serve the term in jail. Now, that is not to take away the fact that you might also lose the right to those proceeds of crime. Now, because they are bilateral treaties between Nigeria and the UK, it's possible that some of those proceeds of crime, like we would have seen in the various Abacha groups, some of those proceeds of crime might find their way back into the country. What I think is unacceptable, however, and maybe I can preempt that that might be your next question, is that it's going to be unconscionable for the UK government or any government at all to direct Nigerians as to how these proceeds are to be applied. Like some Igbos will say that the wrapper is mine. How I use the wrapper is none of your business.
So unfortunately, we have very little time, but I want to squeeze this question in. Going forward, as far as this case is concerned, what role will Nigerian authorities be playing? What do you suspect?
Well, I think there's always been this collaborative relationship between our anti-graft agencies and the Federal Ministry of Justice in Nigeria. Under the former Attorney General Malami, Advocate of Nigeria, there was a lot of collaboration in which existed between that ministry and the UK jurisdiction. And essentially, this sort of cases are usually not successfully prosecuted unless you have the collaboration of interagency, what we call interagency collaboration. That's how UK has been able to, for 8 years, they've been able to investigate and successfully establish criminal charge against the former minister. The same thing happened in the U.S. court, if you recall, where the National Crimes Agency was able to provide information to the U.S. intelligence agency for them to be able to have recovered about $53 million. So I think the Nigerian government, the UK government, the U.S. government, and indeed any of the government, we have this bilateral treaty where we must exchange information, we must support one another in terms of criminal investigation.
We'll see how things pan out when Dezani goes to court from October 2nd. We'll see how things go. But thank you so much. And on a very rare occurrence.
Maybe what I can just say, just in wrapping up, is we must just also be very careful. The British police have only just established what they consider to be a prima facie case against the former minister. In October 2, we will have to monitor because they have to establish that crime or the offense of that crime against the former minister in the court. If they succeed, then the court will convict the former minister. As we speak today, the former minister is not yet convicted.
Yes.
If the NCA succeeds in the UK court, then the former minister will get convicted. I thought it was important, that is clarified.
Thank you so much, Tolulope, for that. And on a very rare occasion, we'll say happy birthday to you here on the news. Thank you for your time. I hope you have a pleasant evening.